You see, the Israelis perpetrate these horrible crimes, and then they blame it on the Arabs. They disguise, and it is blamed on the Arabs. From the New York Times. Now, the New York Times news service, Israel's attack in '67 on the intelligence ship Liberty, which killed 34 American sailors and wounded 171 others, was deliberate, according to a new book on the National Security Agency. These Israelis, led by their Mossad and their other spy agencies and their defense industry, they're killing Americans. I believe they're responsible for most of the terrorist acts supposedly perpetrated by Arabs.
Who would you say America's best ally is?
Israel.
What would you say if I told you 57 years ago Israel made war on the United States? USS Liberty sent to the Eastern Mediterranean in 1967 with the intention of sinking the ship and blaming it on the Egyptians and getting us involved with the Middle East war.
The casualties were high, 34 American dead and 75 wounded.
The reality of what happened is it was not a mistake, and they wanted to sink us, and what does that mean to this country?
Well, there's no question. It was a big cover-up from the top on down.
What did we do wrong? We can't talk about it.
For the next 40 plus years, I never said anything to anyone.
You just couldn't talk about it. It was such a secret, and with our lives threatened, and who knows if they were monitoring us or doing whatever.
You ever repeat one word about the USS Liberty and who did it to you, I'll guarantee I'll see you in Leavenworth or worse.
When you're told by the President of the United States, Secretary of Defense, to keep your mouth shut, don't say anything.
His girlfriend from the Mossad told him that he could raise all kinds of money to continue the Vietnam War.
He had been contacted by a man with a hoarse voice who said that he'd been a pilot that attacked the Liberty, and suddenly he disappears. There's no record. You can only suspect that it was as he feared. They deported him, they turned him over to the Israelis, took him back to Israel, court-martialed him secretly, and maybe have executed him.
The Liberty is Americans need to know what happened. The story has to be told.
USS Liberty, a famous false flag. You want to get us in the war against Egypt? Well, then Israel bomb and kill American sailors on the USS Liberty.
In 1967, Israeli warplanes attacked the USS Liberty off the coast of Palestine. This vicious attack left 34 American sailors dead and wounded 171 more. The reason behind this attack was that Israel intended to sink the USS Liberty and blame it on Egypt in order to drag America into the Six-Day War on the side of Israel. The attack, however, failed to sink the ship, and the case was quickly swept under the rug due to Israeli influence over US politicians.
This audio tape, which has never been broadcast before, was recorded in real time by the Israeli military during the assault. The woman's voice in the background is counting down the seconds. It proves that Israeli commanders knew all along that they were attacking an American ship. For the first time, this and other evidence allows us to reveal the true story of what happened that day and what came after, when a deadly assault by one ally on another was covered up, and an American president was manipulated by the secret agents of a foreign power.
In 1967, the USS Liberty was attacked ruthlessly. The ship was bombarded from all directions, sea and air. 34 Americans were killed, and over 100 were injured. Israel were the culprits of that heinous crime.
There is only one country that attacked the U.S. and never got hit back. An American Navy ship was near Egypt during a war in 1967. They fired rockets, bullets, and even dropped torpedoes. By the end, 34 Americans were dead, 171 were hurt, and the country that did it? It's Israel.
It was no enemy that tried to sink the Liberty. It was America's ally, Israel.
The attack was obviously deliberate. I consider it this cold-blooded murder of American sailors that day. I saw them come at us. In fact, I was looking through the porthole when the jets came down and leveled off on us at attack attitude.
Of the 34 that were killed that day, 28 worked for me. I never should have survived. I was less than 10 feet when the torpedo detonated. I was told that the Admiral would like to speak to me. I went to his stateroom, and he set me down. He said, "Commander Lewis, what I'm about to tell you is for your ears only. You are not to tell anyone during my lifetime." He said that they had hardly gotten airborne before Robert McNamara recalled them.
There are all of these claims that we sent planes, the planes were going out and then we turned them around, and that we intentionally allowed the Israelis to sink the Liberty. I know nothing about it.
Are you familiar with Operation Critic? If you type the word critic, C-R-I-T-I-C, in the heading, everything worldwide shuts down until that gets to the White House. That was obviously how McNamara knew instantly that we'd launched aircraft. It was reported to Washington that aircraft had been launched, and almost instantaneously, McNamara recalls them. So he reconfigured a flight of aircraft incapable of carrying nukes and relaunched them. And immediately, Robert McNamara came on again and said, "I ordered you to recall the aircraft." And Admiral Geist said he exercised his military prerogative of challenging the order, which means it goes to the next higher echelon. And almost instantly, Lyndon Johnson comes on the phone and says, "Recall the damned aircraft. I don't care if the ship sinks and all the sailors are killed. I will not embarrass my ally." That was several hours before he was notified who did it.
Israeli ships and planes torpedoed and strafed her.
Too bad you didn't kill all of them, because a lot of them lived, and they told the world what the hell happened when they tried to use American sailors as a false flag to get us into a war against Egypt. Didn't work.
That torpedo hit 1,000 miles away with a 40 by 40 foot hole in the ship, hoping we'd sink. So we're under attack. And I got to my GQ station, which is in the front part of the ship, and those two men that I just left there, not a minute it took me to get back up there, they were dead. They're blown to bits. Anything that moved aboard that ship, they were shot at. They took out all of our antennas within 3 seconds. Our 450 caliber machine guns were gone. Every watertight door was hit, and this went on for 25 minutes, dropping napalm on us. 25 minutes of that, you can't imagine. Every second was like an hour. We saw the torpedo boats coming. We thought, the Star of David, oh good. Because these were unmarked jet aircraft. We didn't know who was attacking us. We thought it was the Arabs. And then we saw the torpedo boats, and the Star of David thought, oh man, here's our best friends who are going to come help us. No, they come to sink us. They fired 5 torpedoes at us. LBJ gets on the phone, and his exact words were, "I don't give a GD if all those sailors die. I'm not going to embarrass my ally Israel," like I said in the letter. Now, how did he know that if we didn't know it? Who was attacking us?
My name is Commander David Lewis. I was a research officer on board the USS Liberty at the time of the Israeli attack. At that point, Lyndon Johnson came on the line. He said, "I don't give a damn if the ship sinks and all the Americans are killed. I will not embarrass my allies." Well, that was 3 hours before he's notified who the allies were.
Many of Johnson's closest friends and advisors were pro-Israeli, and they reported back to Tel Aviv on his every move. So sensitive were these communications that the Israelis used code names to protect the identity of their White House agents. But for the first time, the members of the ring can be named. Hamlet was a $1 million fundraiser. When he rang, Johnson took his calls. He was Abe Feinberg. Menashe was Arthur Goldberg, the U.S. ambassador to the United Nations. The crucial intelligence came from Arthur Goldberg. He warned Tel Aviv that the United States had the audio tape which revealed Israeli pilots knew it was an American ship before they attacked. Harare was David Ginsburg, a high-profile Washington lawyer who also represented the Israeli embassy. Ilan was Supreme Court Justice Abe Fortas.
I'm Tom Hughes. I was State Department Director of Intelligence and Research at the time of the Liberty incident in '67. Johnson himself briefed Newsweek magazine off the record that the Israelis had attacked. The fact that Johnson himself was the leaker and briefer of Newsweek was soon leaked. And this alarmed, of course, the Israeli embassy and their leading friends in the Jewish organizations. The Israeli embassy regarded this as a major problem. What Johnson had told Newsweek practically amounted to blood libel.
Declassified Israeli documents show they were going to threaten President Johnson with blood libel, gross anti-Semitism, and that would end his political career.
Blackmail. This is Admiral Bobby R. Inman, U.S. Navy retired. I'm a former director of the National Security Agency. But they know if he is thinking about running again, he's going to need money for his campaign. Alleging that he's blood libeling is going to arouse Jewish donors.
The Israeli government hired teams of lawyers, some of whom were close friends of Lyndon Johnson. They lent on the media to kill critical stories and slanted others in favor of Israel.
It is hard to overestimate just how profound America changed when the patriot John F. Kennedy was replaced by one of the supreme American traitors in Lyndon Baines Johnson. Not only did Johnson bolster Israel's nuclear weapons program, he did not compel the American Zionist Council to register as a foreign agent. In June 1967, Johnson covered up the brutal Israeli attack on the USS Liberty, an attack that resulted in the murder of 34 American sailors as well as 171 casualties. While the attack was taking place, Johnson personally recalled air defenses for the Liberty with the following explanation, quote, "We are not going to embarrass an ally." The Liberty incident was a classic false flag to be blamed on Egypt. Israel's intention was to suck American sons and daughters into an extremely dangerous war for Israel, this time against Egypt. This false flag nearly resulted in World War III by virtue of the fact that nuclear-armed Phantom jets were launched towards Cairo and were only recalled when it became clear that the Liberty was not going to sink and witnesses would live to tell the tale.
Yeah, well, you know, the Milwaukee ADL and AIPAC came down on us, said you guys are nothing but Jew haters and Nazis, for wanting to have a memorial about our ship. And the library's still standing, the USS Liberty Memorial Library. In fact, they
telling the truth is anti-Semitic.
Yeah, it's anti-Semitic.
Fuck those guys.
Yeah.
We've ceded our power to a foreign country. Israel controls us. They control the Congress. They control the Senate. They control our money. We don't control our country. The Zionist state does. Our passionate attachment to the Zionist state has got to stop.
Do you think Lyndon Johnson knew that American sailors were being murdered?
100%. It goes all the way to him.
So evil that I can't even...
He's such an evil human being. In fact, and wouldn't allow them to be rescued, by the way. They hoped that every American died in the waters that day.
Well, what I can tell you is that this has completely changed a lot for me. Genuinely embarrassed at my ignorance, and it's confounding for me that I thought that I was on the side of the party of, truth and America first and patriots and caring about our veterans. And I'm realizing now that so many of these people are cowards. There are some that are brave, obviously, Thomas Massey, but I promise you, as long as you live, I will hold a candle for the USS Liberty. You forever have a platform. I almost feel ashamed of myself that I thought to myself this year, oh my gosh, I'm getting so attacked by the Zionist media because I had a heart over the Palestinian children that were dying, and I realized I had to survive digital attacks. I mean, you survived. Yeah. What you survived is unbelievable. And I want to pledge to you that personally, my family will donate $40,000 every year to your organization. And I'm asking if every single person who is watching this right now, every single person gives $1, just $1, we can keep their organization going.
You can go to usslibertyveterans.org. They're not our best friend. They're not our ally. They got more money when they murdered my shipmates than they ever got in their entire existence.